Dylan's like, oh no, wrong. Hey, what's happening, everybody? It's Ike from Flipside Music, and welcome to an overcaffeinated version of WFAQ. That's the new call station.
This morning in Denver.
Yeah, this morning in Denver, it's 73 miles an hour. What's happening, guys? F.A.Q. Season 3, number 18.
Yes.
I believe so.
Yes, 18.
So if you're new here, weekly question and answer show, you ask us a question. I can't talk. I'm all screwed up.
It's all right. It's funny because I think that was like the one that got you last week, too.
What?
I can't even say it. Ask us a question.
It's a wee tongue
Ask
twister.
us a question, yeah.
It's a wee tongue twister. Yeah, so I don't know. Whatever we're doing. You ask us a question, we answer your question.
Sort of.
Right. We should just have questions and then answer all the questions with questions and then just leave it and see what happens.
Yeah. Just like question the questions.
Nobody will view.
Yeah.
We'll have like no subscribers.
That or it'll create a unending dialogue of just returning questions.
Feedback loop.
Yep.
So yeah. All right. So let's start out. Jake wrote a huge question.
Yeah, there's quite a few huge questions in this one this week.
All right. Well, let's pick one and go from there because I didn't read any of these.
Okay. Headwalk 26. He says, I think every guitar player's life is peppered with moments of I should give up now frustration. He says, I know plenty of artists have made me realize how high the ceiling goes for guitar players especially. Do you have any moments that stick out in your mind where you thought, wow, I should sell my guitars right now? It's kind of like your burn your shit moment.
Yeah. This morning. Wow, no,
I think that's an ongoing thing. I mean, to me, it really is like an ongoing thing. I mean, there's certain guitar players I watch and they're totally inspirational, and then there's other ones I watch and it is like, why bother? Like, why do I bother? Kind of a thing. But
and some of them, when you see like, hey, here's this 14-year-old, and they're like, right. And you're like, what? Screw it, just throw everything out, And then what sucks also too, though. Okay, so yeah, I think we all have that experience. Yeah. I feel it often because I'm not a very good guitar player, but I'm like, I got to remind myself that I play because I like it.
Right.
And if I got to judge that against everybody else or every other guitar player, I want to be a miserable bastard. Right. So just play what I enjoy, and if there are other people that like it, then that's cool too. But the thing that I run into is like I'm a kind of a blues player.
Right.
And everybody wants to make fun of dad blues and blah, blah, blah. F you guys, It's like, I've liked blues since I was like 17 years old. So
right.
It's kind of like, as you get older, I still love metal, and I'll learn some cool metal-y shit because I grew up on metal.
Well, yeah, but playing blues with some actual feeling is a different, like, I think people look at it and, they think what's going on is not difficult to execute. But like doing it with any real sense of feeling where like people can actually tell you're feeling it, I think that's a totally different. Because like that's blues versus like when people are just miming it.
Yeah, and I think I see that when I go out to like see bands that are good blues bands. You're like, that's good stuff because there are a lot of modern blues players that aren't just pentatonic players, like somebody like Matt Schofield or even Josh Smith or stuff like that. It's like there are guys that are really good that aren't always the traditional stuff. You got to look at country music too. Like even today's country, which kind of blows, but a lot of those guitar players are highly technical, but it's all based off of the old, off of the old country style, and it's progressed. I think the fact is that blues is based off of that pentatonic scale, and it's kind of a lot of parts where people start, so they hear a lot of bad playing. And that's what they base it off of too.
That's true.
Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
So it's like when you don't go and see the actual professional blues players that really kick ass. And then there's a bunch of young people that are like, oh, it's old people music.
Right.
But it's got great groove, I think, if you catch the right band. But anyway, you see where I'm going with all that?
No, I do. I mean, that's why I like the guys that play, because even I'm not really into jazz much, but there are some jazz players, especially some younger ones out there right now that like, they play with a certain amount of feeling and like a certain amount of, I don't know, it's more interesting, I guess, than just the fast shredding stuff. Because it's like I'm amazed by the guys that can do that stuff, but at the same time, it gets old real fast. And so like the guys that can
like metal shred.
yeah, and
oh,
so
yeah, me
like
too. At this point, I go.
So like the guys that can actually play with some real feeling and really like really hit it, and you really can, you know, you're moved by what they're playing. Like I think that's what you, I don't know. I feel like that's what you should aim for, really. Like shredding is cool, but at the same time, if it's not moving anybody, that's when I'm kind of like, what's the point?
That's why I never liked. I was never a big fan of Yngwie. Not saying that he's technically not great or whatever. I've just never been a fan of him because I'm like.
Right.
After a while, it bores the hell out of me.
Right.
And I'm like, I've had enough of. And I'm sure that that's the way people feel with some of the blues stuff with the bends because you hear a lot of it. But.
Yeah, but when those blues guys are hitting it and they're hitting that stink face, that just.
I know.
That's.
I know, that's what I appreciate.
Yeah.
But I think what it is when you add that element of tastiness, like I like when somebody does something fast, but it's like, okay, here's this tasty bit, and all of a sudden they put something in, and you're like, what? That was super cool because it was a quick thing, but it wasn't, 30 seconds of. It was one quick move, and you're like, what just happened?
Right.
That was, like there's those little moments of brilliance in there.
Yeah.
I think.
In terms of like, I mean, to me, I think that is just kind of a constant statement. In terms of a person in particular, I mean, I don't know, like the guys like that are kind of like Guthrie Govan and those guys are. Those are the ones that,
leaps
those
and bounds. You watch him and you're like, definitely, like I'm gonna go home and just burn my shit.
Well, yeah, and he's like a guitar professor. Like not only can he just play the shit, but the way he's able to speak about it, explain it, it's like the guy just knows it, better than most people know anything. Right. And so guys like that definitely make me feel like that. But at the same time, like you said, I think, especially in this day and age, I think if people would try to be more of just the best they can of themselves rather than trying to mime somebody else all the time, I think, because I mean that's the sort of thing I feel like we don't have as much these days as people popping out. I mean there are a lot of people that do, but it's like the people that really play with some passion are, I feel like, a little more rare these days. At least within certain genres. Because I feel like that's where, like, because even, within, like, metal and the grunge stuff, like, I always thought Jerry Cantrell was a great solo player, but a lot of people don't feel like he's that great because he's not, like, super technical. But I always thought he played some really, like, tasty, like, more heartfelt stuff.
Well, stuff. I mean, look at Billy Gibbons.
Yeah.
There's no like super technical stuff there. Most of that is pentatonics or slight variations of that.
Right. But even doing him convincingly is
it's
tough.
all feel.
Right.
And that's the big thing. But
right.
That's a good first question. Yeah. All right. So Ben Coombs, preferred Canadian YouTuber, asks, do you have any experience with flat wound strings?
It's a good question. I only have, like, through the shop.
He only works with bodacious wound strings.
Yeah. I live vicariously through
That's a terrible joke.
I live vicariously through the shop. No, I only have experience with them on, like, guitars that have come in to the shop. I can't say I've ever put them on anything that I own personally.
I mean, they usually are definitely milder.
Oh, for sure.
You're getting a darker feel.
I kind of love them on bass, to be honest.
Yeah, on a bass it's good, but you want to have that darker feel. See, the thing with bass is what I've noticed is the half round. Like Pat's got those on his bass, and I was like, wait a minute, those still sound like a bright, nice,
you still kind of bounce about the world, yeah.
But it's got a nice finger feel.
Right.
When you're playing it, it's nice and smooth, and you're like. So I actually got a set coming in to put on my Warwick.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's not.
So I'm gonna try it. I'm like, I want it. I love the punch of the round wound, but I love the feel
of the flat.
So if I can still get that punch, I'm gonna try it. So that's a half round is for what they're calling it.
Yeah, I'll have to try the half rounds because I can't say I've ever given those
on
a
guitar.
shot.
I don't even know if they have half rounds on guitar.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to see.
Look.
But yeah, I mean, they're definitely, to me, it's certainly, I mean, a big sonic change more than people, I think, would normally expect. And then it's definitely a feel, like totally a different feel, which actually on like fretless basses, it's really fun too. Some of the ones that have come through. It's just fun to be able to slide up and down. And luckily, if you have a pretty good ear for it, like it's not that jarring. I mean, because I feel like
they're more thuddier.
Right.
They're just darker, thuddier kind of vibe to it.
Right. Yeah. All right, Boomer Bass Beam. He says, rumor has it that a builder from Czechoslovakia is putting dark glass Spectre Euro preamps into a pedal. Oh, okay. And then, have you heard anything about this? Also heard there's an American builder that might be doing one for the U.S. market. So, is it like cloning them? I guess is what he's maybe getting at, like cloning the dark glass Spectre preamp, or just taking the preamp all together and putting it in the... Well, that probably doesn't make sense, so it's probably a cloning situation.
Yeah, most likely. But who knows? I don't know. I haven't heard about that. If you got any links, send it to us.
Yeah, I can't say we're in the loop on that one.
Yeah, we'll try to check that out.
Yeah, that one's definitely... If you guys have heard anything about that, feel free to comment,
chime in, let us know. Yeah. We're asking ourselves questions that we don't have answers to. So that goes to the fact about how much show
pre-production
prep we do.
Yeah.
Highly technical show prep.
Well, we want you guys to feel like you're in on the experience of us reading these for the first time. Yeah.
Figuring it out as we go. There is no prep.
All right, but that's honesty. Like,
I think
when you think about it, because like that's one thing. Like I do. Especially with a lot of stuff, like if people review any of the stuff ahead of time, or if you can see them visually reading it, like that bugs me sometimes. I mean, I know they're trying to get their thoughts out in a succinct manner.
Hi, today my name is so and so.
Right, yeah.
I'm going to be checking out the blah blah blah.
Exactly, yeah. And it's like, to me, that's
it has crystal clear high and punchy low end. It is very cool.
Right. Like, yeah. But no, it does. It feels stiff and not genuine. So, all right. Nothing here asks, for better or worse. Like a lot of people, I enjoy running tube screamer type pedals into high gain channels on dual rectifiers, JCMs, 5150s for a metal tone. Which, like I said, that's definitely like something that people have been doing for a while, and I think it will obviously continue. But he's asking, what non-tube screamer pedals would you recommend for sculpting metal tones in a high gain channel? Does not need to be an overdrive. Well, EQ for sure.
So I was going to go. An EQ pedal is going to get you.
Yeah, EQs are amazing.
You're going to get a bunch of mileage out of that, because that way you're just exactly like you said, you're kind of sculpting the tone. You have the frequencies there that you can manipulate to really kind of give you what you want. If you want it thicker or thinner, whatever the case may be.
Yeah, throw on like a 10 band or something in your effects loop will make a massive difference. And honestly, it'll make you sound like more professional, more than you would think. Because it's something that like people who don't play, when they hear your tone afterwards, like I've almost always heard people get compliments like when they start using an EQ. It's like it almost always, I mean, unless they're doing something weird with it, but yeah, for the most part, people always feel like there's an improvement, because I think as players, we tend to also have weird ear fatigue issues sometimes with things, and we don't always perceive it the same way every time. Yeah. But like almost every time when you have like a third party that doesn't play, and they hear your tone with an EQ versus without, almost always they're going to say it sounds more professional. So I think EQ is the big one.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I mean there's certain ones, honestly, like bang for the buck if you can splurge for it. The EQ 200 from Boss is one of the best EQs on the market right now, just because you can do a front end EQ and an effects loop EQ. So you could kind of do almost like you're talking about like a front end overdrive kind of sculpting, and then you can also do a post EQ in the effects loop, and that would make massive differences. So
EQ, that's the answer. All right. Tim White asks, any good approximation of the Fender Acoustisonic guitars for more like $1,000 range? Less electronics would be fine, but more of the plays like an electric and very portable features. So basically, is there going to be a more affordable line of the Acoustisonic? And the answer is, well, I don't know if I'm supposed to say.
Oh.
But I guess that gives it away.
Oh, okay.
Because I'm not supposed to say anything.
Okay.
But anyway, from what I heard, yes, that they're actually Fender. Yeah, what the hell? Oh, the 80 people here are going to
right, yeah.
The 80 people that are going to watch this video are going to spread this shit worldwide.
Right, it's going to go viral.
It's going viral.
Maybe this will be the thing that gets our views. So
this might be
monetized. Yeah.
Shoot us into the stratosphere.
We'll be like a skyrocket or a bottle rocket.
Yeah, gone. All of a sudden, we're going to be like, hey,
and YouTube ban.
Now it's scripted. Hey, look at me. I'm saying things that were written for me. Oh, never mind. So, From what I heard, they're actually working on either creating a special area they're going to be made in Mexico, from what I've heard.
Okay.
And that they're creating a special facility just to kind of be pumping those things out for a while.
Oh.
Because there's been pretty good demand. They've gotten a very good response on them. Obviously, the price tag that's on them right now is pretty heavy, but I think they're going to do the affordable version, and it's going to come out of Mexico. And
Makes sense. I mean,
you know, obviously Fender will make the adjustments to make it work for them, but I don't know when that's going to happen. That's just what I heard.
well, I can't imagine that other companies aren't working on something. I mean, like, I got to imagine
We've
Yamaha
gone
and a
through
few
this
other.
kind of before. So.
Well, yeah, because like even that, I forgot what the technology is called, but like those preamps you can put in in acoustic guitars now that have all the effects and
yeah,
stuff
which
built
are
in.
cool. We got
Like,
those coming in actually.
Yeah, so like that, there was some company that started that. I feel like 5-6 years ago, or at least when it was really starting to peak in popularity, and now they're like everywhere. Now like tons of acoustic companies have their own versions of it. So
Yeah,
it's like
because Yamaha has we're getting Yamaha guitars in, by the way, so if anybody cares. And they have a couple in one of their models, so we have some of those coming. And I'm like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
It sounds good because we had one come through the shop, and that was what kind of convinced me. I'm like,
it was a lot. Yeah,
pretty cool setup.
yeah, it was a lot more. It was a lot more convincing in person than it was in the videos and stuff.
Yeah,
in the videos
especially-
it just sounds like a recorded, like you took an acoustic guitar, recorded it, added some plugins. That's kind of what it sounds like, but in real life, totally different. So
Yeah, and the one company that I saw that did the review is just like the QVC of demo stuff, so I
Right.
can't really necessarily go, oh wow,
right,
oh great job, mate.
yeah,
So, you know, now that I've actually heard it in person, I'm like, wow, that is really pretty awesome.
Right.
But we've kind of gone through this before with the thin line stuff. You know, like back in the 80s, they all had the thin guitar stuff.
right,
So we'll see. And it's really geared more towards somebody that's going to be playing live.
right.
It's not necessarily
not even like a
acoustic setup.
writing tool. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, it's just more. I mean, I have one of the old Acoustisonic, Telesonic, or whatever they used to call
oh
it.
yeah.
You know, I got one of those that are from back in the day. It's a Tele, of course. And it sounds like garbage acoustically. It sounds like, oh, wow, plastic.
Yeah.
But plugged in, I actually upgraded it and put a Fishman preamp in
okay.
it. So plugged in, it actually sounds really nice, and it plays just like a Tele, but it sounds great plugged in. Unplugged, it's...
Kind of not.
Yeah, it's kind of shite. But, you know, we've been through this before, so we'll see what happens.
Yeah. Well, and like I said, I mean, I can't imagine there are not other companies. Yeah, they're not going to do the Fender shapes, but I can't imagine there's not other companies working on versions of this.
Yeah,
So-
and I see it, you know, like acoustic duos, trios, or whatever. That's going to be pretty popular. I feel like it'll be pretty popular in the worship crowd because they can get, you know, it's just a smaller guitar that they
Portable,
can plug in.
yeah.
It's portable.
Yeah.
You know, it's.
That's true.
I could see it being pretty popular in that crowd as well.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, and like you said, even like the busking crowd, because you know, like a small PA and one of those things, and
Yeah, it's just
you're pretty
easier to
much
get
good
around.
to go. Yeah,
Easier to get around and probably a little bit more durable.
right.
So.
A little more easy to play too, just because you're not having to do the old reach around for the dreadnought.
What's a mosquito? See that little guy? That's a mosquito. What the hell's a mosquito doing in Colorado?
Especially this time of year.
Except, no, in May.
Yeah, usually they're not around till summer.
We'll have
Dead.
to- we'll have
You're
to-
dead.
He's deed. We'll have to discount that.
You dead mosquito.
Hey, discounted it. Yep. All right, I think that's all we got.
We have
right?
frolicking wild Nico's about, so we're
What are
gonna
you
call it a
doing?
good one.
What are you doing? All right, yeah. All right, things are happening.
Yeah.
All right, so we appreciate you guys hanging out, and we'll see you guys next week. Like, subscribe, do the thing, tell your friends, all that kind of stuff.
Yes.
And that's it. We'll catch you guys on the flip side.